This is the listening section. This section has 4 parts. Part 1. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. You will hear a conversation now. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
Hello, can I help you, ma'am?
Yes, could you tell me how to send some money to someone with an account with a bank in Germany?
Well, you can pay by mail, telegraphic, or SWIFT transfer. Or you can have a banker's draft and mail it yourself to the beneficiary.
Which is the best way?
It depends on the amount and how fast you want that person to receive the money. A SWIFT transfer is the fastest method, but a banker's draft is usually the cheapest. How much do you want to send?
$800.
Why don't you send it by mail payment order?
How long does it take?
About a week.
I don't know. Can I send it more quickly?
Sure, you can have a telegraphic or a SWIFT transfer.
And how long do those take?
Both a telegraphic transfer and a SWIFT transfer will normally be credited to the payee's account within 3 or 4 working days, depending on whether the beneficiary's bank is among our correspondent banks or we have to route the transfer through a third bank.
I see. How can I pay by telegraphic transfer?
You have to fill out this form, ma'am.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 8 to 12. Listen to a topic on essay on new technologies launching.
New technologies are constantly being developed and launched, bringing with them a wide range of benefits and advancements. These new technologies have the potential to change the way we live and work, making our lives easier and more efficient. One example of a new technology that has recently been launched is 5G networks. 5G networks are the next generation of cellular networks, offering faster speeds and more reliable connections than previous generations. This technology will allow for faster internet speeds and better connectivity, which will have a major impact on how we use our smartphones and other mobile devices. Another new technology that has recently been launched is the Internet of Things, IoT. IoT refers to the network of physical devices, vehicles, buildings, and other items that are embedded with electronics, software, sensors, and connectivity which enables these objects to connect and exchange data. This technology will allow for the automation of many tasks and processes, such as controlling the temperature of a room or monitoring the health of a patient. Artificial intelligence, AI, is another technology that has seen significant advancements in recent years. AI is used to create systems and machines that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as recognizing speech, understanding natural language, and making decisions. AI has the potential to revolutionize industries such as healthcare, finance, and transportation by automating tasks and making them more efficient. In conclusion, new technologies are constantly being launched, bringing with them a wide range of benefits and advancements. These technologies have the potential to change the way we live and work, making our lives easier and more efficient. However, it is important to consider the potential downsides and to properly regulate the use of new technologies to ensure that they are used for the benefit of all.
Part 2. First, you have some time to look at questions 13 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 13 to 20.
This podcast is another one about relationships, and it's related to the podcast I did before about emotional flooding. Here it is. When I read Dr. Gottman's ideas about emotional flooding, I immediately thought of my best friend Kristen. Kristen and I have known each other for over 12 years. In fact, we dated for many years. Have you seen the TV show Seinfeld? You know the characters Jerry and Elaine? Well, that's Kristen and I. She and I had a very volatile relationship, probably because we are so alike. We both love change and the excitement of new experiences. We both love travel, and we can both be restless and moody. As a result, we argued all the time. Thinking back, I realized that I frequently became emotionally flooded during these arguments. In truth, I hate to argue. I quickly become stressed, and once I'm overwhelmed, I stonewall. Kristen does the same. And so, Kristen and I got locked into a very negative pattern. We'd argue, the argument would become more and more heated, pulses rising, then she or I, or both of us, would become overwhelmed. Typically, one of us would walk out of the room or shut down and refuse to talk more. I found this to be very stressful. Eventually, we broke up, but we have remained best friends. In fact, we have a much better relationship as friends. It's easier for us to take a break and calm down when one of us gets upset. Since we are so alike, we understand and support each other. In many countries, it is considered strange to remain friends with an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. But it is fairly common in America, especially among younger generations. Still, many people don't understand. They think it's too difficult to do. And it's true. In the beginning, after we had just broken up, it was very difficult. But we continued to communicate, and we have been rewarded with a very unique friendship. We are now like close siblings. I've also remained close friends with my ex-girlfriend Tip, who is in Thailand. She's a wonderful and amazing person. Of course, it wasn't easy for a while. There are always intense feelings in this kind of situation. But again, we persevered and have been rewarded with a tremendous friendship. I'm very happy that Kristen and Tip are still in my life. It's not always possible, of course, but in general, I think it's worth the effort to remain friends with someone after a breakup. This can be difficult and painful initially, but very rewarding long term. Okay?
Part 3. You have some time to look at questions 21 to 30. You will hear a lecturer discussing on Australian history.
Australia has a rich and diverse history that spans over 60,000 years. The indigenous peoples of Australia, known as the Aborigines, have lived on the continent for thousands of years and have a deep connection to the land and its history. They developed a complex culture and society and have a rich tradition of storytelling and art. European exploration of Australia began in the late 18th century, with the arrival of the British navigator Captain James Cook in 1770. Cook claimed the land for Britain and named it New South Wales. In 1788, the first fleet, consisting of 11 ships and around 1,500 people, arrived in Sydney to establish a penal colony. The colony was established to alleviate overcrowding in British prisons and to provide a source of labor for the new colony. The early years of the colony were marked by hardship and conflict. The Aborigines, that is Aborigines, being the original inhabitants of Australia and Europeans, had very different ways of life and struggled to understand each other. Relations between the two groups were often hostile, with many Aborigines being killed in conflicts with the settlers. The colony also struggled to survive, with food shortages and disease taking a heavy toll on the population. Despite these difficulties, the colony gradually began to grow and prosper. The discovery of gold in the 1850s brought a large influx of people to Australia, leading to rapid economic growth and development. The colony of Victoria, where the gold rush took place, became one of the wealthiest and most populous colonies in the British Empire. In 1901, the 6 colonies of Australia, New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia and Tasmania, joined together to form the Commonwealth of Australia. This marked the beginning of a new era in Australian history, with the country becoming a nation in its own right. The new nation faced many challenges, including the Great War, World War I, and the Great Depression, but it emerged from these crises stronger and more united. In the decades that followed, Australia experienced a period of rapid change and growth. The country played a major role in World War II, with many Australians fighting and dying in the conflict. After the war, Australia experienced a period of economic growth and prosperity, and the population grew rapidly. In the 1960s and 1970s, Australia underwent significant social and political changes, with the rise of the feminist and environmental movements and the end of the White Australia policy. Today, Australia is a diverse and multicultural nation, with a rich and unique history. The Indigenous peoples continue to play a vital role in Australian society, and their culture and traditions are an important part of the country's heritage. The nation continues to evolve and change, facing new challenges and opportunities as it moves into the future.
Part 4. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. You will hear a study given on importance of immigration. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Immigration is the movement of people from one country to another in order to reside permanently. It is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon that has played a crucial role in shaping societies throughout history. The importance of immigration can be seen in a number of different ways, including economic, social, and cultural impacts. Economically, immigration is important because it can provide a source of labor and a boost to economic growth. Immigrants often take on jobs that are in high demand, but that are difficult to fill with domestic workers. They also tend to start their own businesses and become entrepreneurs, which can create jobs for others and stimulate economic growth. Furthermore, immigrants tend to be more willing to work for lower wages, which can help to keep prices low for goods and services. Socially, immigration is important because it can help to diversify and enrich societies. Immigrants bring different perspectives, customs, and traditions, which can lead to a greater understanding and appreciation of different cultures. They also tend to be more open-minded and accepting of others, which can help to create more tolerant and inclusive societies. Furthermore, immigration can help to address population decline and aging, as immigrants tend to be younger and have higher fertility rates. Culturally, immigration is important because it can help to preserve and promote cultural heritage. Immigrants often bring their own languages, arts, and customs with them, which can help to keep these traditions alive. Furthermore, the presence of immigrants can lead to the creation of new cultural forms, such as fusion cuisine and art, which can be enjoyed by people of all backgrounds. In conclusion, Immigration is a vital and important phenomenon that plays a crucial role in shaping societies. It has significant economic, social, and cultural impacts, and it can help to diversify and enrich societies. It is important to recognize the contributions of immigrants and to create policies that support and promote immigration. It is also important to understand that the benefits of immigration far outweigh any perceived negative impacts.